Moving on to Saturnite. This excerpt is an interesting one, and you'll find out why. Maladius beheld it all, propped up against a broken pillar. He watched his Praetorian's wrath unleash. "Your pretty wall is broken, Rogal," Fulgrim declared. He lashed his blade into Dorn's shield and drew splinters. "Your famous fortress is undone. Dorn's blow knocked the words right out of his mouth. Fulgrim stumbled. Dorn's great sword tore into his ribs. Fulgrim struck back, found only shield again. "You are a man in a broken tower," Fulgrim taunted and spat out blood. "Stand so proud, so defiant, ignoring the fact the tower is falling around you. It will." Another blow. Fulgrim staggered away, then spun, head lowered, hair billowing, keeping his distance. Dorn lunged anyway, driving his shield into the body and face. Fulgrim threw him off and leapt aside. "So silent, Rogal," he groaned. "No words of denial? No pleading for me to change my foolish way and come back to you? You can tell me it's not too late. You can promise me sweet forgiveness." Dorn blocked into him, broke his guard, and with his shield buried his blade into Fulgrim's shoulder meat. Then body slammed him across the platform. "Deeds are my words," Dorn said. Fulgrim nodded and spat blood again. "Always," he agreed, licking blood off his teeth. "You are never the wit, never one for fine conversation. It's hard at work," and Dorn broke his guard again with another lunge, carving a chunk of plate from Fulgrim's flank. Fulgrim surged and hammered out 9 rapid blows, each one a masterkill stroke. Dorn blocked each one. Their blades flew, ringing against each other, drawing sparks. Fulgrim danced backwards. Dorn advanced. Fulgrim wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and smeared blood across his cheek. "Are you really not going to try and convince me," asked Fulgrim, "that I have made a mistake? Talk me back into the fold. Where can I make amends?" Dorn surged and threw 2 rapid blows that Fulgrim only blocked with effort. "No," said Dorn. He struck again, a low slice that Fulgrim parried, then a high back cut that tore through Fulgrim's gorget and scattered broken rings of golden mail. "I'm just going to kill you," said Dorn. The Phoenician growled and charged 2 steps. Dorn met his first slash with his shield and countered his second with his blade. A third he parried. A fourth he turned aside in a squealing slide of steel that threw off sparks. Fulgrim backed off, circling. "Are you now?" Fulgrim said. "How bold, how empty. Look around." Dorn's glare remained fixed on Fulgrim. He feinted a step, a bait Fulgrim took, then rammed the Phoenician with his shield and hammered 2 blows into his ribs with his pommel before they broke contact again. "I said look around!" Fulgrim snapped. Blood was streaming from his wounds, rolling down his gashed armor. Some had got into his hair. Tossed his sword from hand to hand, then seized the grip with both and hacked at Dorn. Dorn blocked with a raised shield, turned around, and raked his blade deep across Fulgrim's chest. Fulgrim stumbled clear. "Look around! Look around!" Fulgrim screeched. "See what's happening, Rogal Dolt. Your tower is stumbling down. No more running to daddy crying, 'Look, look what I've built!' I took you years to make this, and in one night I rode down upon you, crack your shield, and build a foothold." Dorn stamped at him. and they traded 4 swift blows that chim like bells. "Look," said Dorn. His gaze did not shift from Fulgrim's face. "I don't have to. I see it all." "Oh, what?" snarled Fulgrim. He swung. Dorn turned the blade aside. "I see your siege machines burning at the foot of the wall," said Dorn. "I see your sonic weapons silenced. I see your host foolishly committed and entirely pouring into a run of wall that can be held by a force a tenth that size." Their blades flashed and rang again. Dorn lost a chuck of his shield. Fulgrim took a laceration to the shoulder and is held by a force a tenth that size, said Dorn calmly. "Imperial fists, now bolstered by 200 Legion Astarte veterans I brought with me. 200 veterans who are skilled in every doctrine of war, who have rallied this garrison and this wall stretch, and are now slaughtering the vanguard you so wantonly committed. They thank you for giving them such a wealth of bodies to reap. You have no foothold." "I have!" Fulgrim roared. He smashed his blade at Dorn, a series of furious strokes. Dorn parried them away. Only one got through and gouged his shoulder guard. "No," said Dorn as they circled again. "You are a fine fighter, but a poor strategist. You committed everything against the gap that could be held. You've burned the cream of your host for nothing. Made them cannon fodder. 9,000 dead and counting. I know, Fulgrim. I know everything." "You know nothing!" Fulgrim cried. He rallied in. His gleaming blade sliced the flesh above Dorn's right eye. Dorn caved his ribs with the edge of his shield and punched him in the face with his sword's guard and kicked him backwards. "You've let yourself be used as a distraction," said Dorn, keeping his gaze on his adversary, ignoring the blood pouring down his face. "You've let your host be decimated. For nothing. The Saturnine ruse, I know about that too, has failed. Terrgore played his move and lost his piece. You're just a pawn. Was it the Lord of Iron who fooled you into this? Lupercal? Abaddon? You must have been willing. Were you getting bored with it? The spear tip is broken. You're holding a gate for no one. You're just an idiot standing on a wall." Fulgrim's eyes widened very slightly. "It failed?" he whispered. Dorn lunged. Fulgrim leapt back. Dorn sliced, and Fulgrim capered clear. "I'm not trapped here," said Dorn. "I'm not under siege today. You are. That's why I'm going to kill you." The Praetorian swung. Fulgrim parried. Dorn followed in, and the grey sword tore Fulgrim's cheek open. The Phoenician stabbed frantically, splinting armor and lacerating Dorn's side. Dorn struck out and severed Fulgrim's left wrist, so the hand was left hanging by a shred of flesh. Dorn drove the entire length of his blade through Fulgrim's belly. They stood for a moment as though embracing. The length of Dorn's sword spearing out from Fulgrim's spine, steam raising from the blade. Fulgrim rested his bloody cheek on Dorn's shoulder and sighed. Dorn ripped the sword out and stepped clear. "Well," whispered Fulgrim, blood splattering out of his mouth. "What a mess." He straightened up, gore running from his torn face and broken plate. "You really failed, then?" "The Mournival plan?" he asked. "It did. They're all dead." "Oh." Fulgrim smiled as much as his butchered face would allow. Teeth were visible through the slash in his cheek. "You do fine work," he said. "I wanted a scalp," said Dorn. "I wanted his head." Lupercal. But you came instead. A traitor Primarch. I'll make do with you. All these things you know, said Fulgrim. So very able and informed. There are things you don't know. Name one, said Fulgrim. One. Said Dorn. One, said Fulgrim. I can't die. He stared at Dorn, his wounds closed, the skin reknitting without a scar. His dangling hand refused. His armor fixed itself and gained its luster. His blood dried up and blew away as dust. Two, he said. I'm sick of all this. All of it. The others can find a way to grind you down and bring your fortress low. I cannot die, but I feel the pain. I won't take it anymore. He sheathed his blade. His form began to grow, stretching its dimensions with an unearthly inner light. His legs fused like flowing wax, and he became from waist down a gigantic serpent. The thick lobes of his snaking lower body coiled out across the stonework, scales gleaming like mother of pearl. He rose up, his lamia form towering over the Praetorian. There were scales around his eyes and cheeks, and his tongue was forked. Dorn stared back up, did not take a step backwards, but his eyes narrowed and his grip on the sword tightened. There were no words for the impossibility of what he was seeing with his own eyes. Three, Fulgrim said, no longer smiling. I hope our father burns when the time comes. I hope Lupercal turns him into a screaming corpse. But you won't see that, Rogo. You're the one who dies here. The Phoenician turned, and his huge form glided away towards the parapet. He surged off the edge. Black rose petals opened in the air, swallowed him, and vanished. Dorn turned slowly. They had formed a ring around him. Eidolon, Von Kaida, Lecus Fodian, Jarkon Darol, Queen Misola, Nuno de Dona, and 50 other gleaming warriors of the Emperor's Children Elite Guard. Dorn shook out his shoulders and raised his sword and shield. Try me, he said. They rushed him. Now you understand why I say this was a good one. Like, this one might be top 10 one of my favorite things I have done on this YouTube channel and on this Gatebreaker show. Because it's amazing. The way Dorn just spits back at Fulgrim, the way he tricked Fulgrim into this, and now when he is left alone with the Phoenix Guard, I think. Yeah, with the Phoenix Guard, with these veteran warriors, outnumbered and alone, which are kind of the same thing, he goes like, try me. It's brutal and amazing, and this is why I like the Imperial Fist. You will have a hard time trying to find what Legion I don't like. You can guess which ones I have a more inkling towards, that I like more than others.